I just really don't want to get injured. What I'm going to try and focus on is getting 3 sets with good form. All right, yeah, that felt better than last week. I'm gonna cut. It's not the end all be all to be adding reps and weight. And this belt, I think, probably helped too, so very nice. Welcome to week 9, pull day. Today is a Tuesday. Tuesday is our pull day, Monday is our push day. We are, as I said, week 9 of a 20-week cut, approaching the halfway mark. Today's workout will include deadlifts, what else? Lat pull-downs, 1-arm dumbbell rows, and seated cable rows, close or narrow grip. So we will do those workouts, and we'll also do our daily check-in. So stick around. All right, deadlifts, warm-up set 1. We've got around about 50% thrown on here. That's 155. So we'll do 10. Alright, deadlift warm-up set 2. We're still at 50%. We'll do 10 again. First set always feels a little rough. Like it's just first thing in the morning. Usually the second set moves a little better. Let's see if that's the case. Yeah, moving a lot better on that second set. And last week, on the third set of deadlifts, I didn't necessarily feel something tweak, but I think I just felt my form break down a little bit. I felt my hips kind of move quicker than my body, and I just got I get this soreness on my back right lower hip. It went away after a few days, but I just remember thinking, man, I just really don't want to get injured. At that point, I was week 8. I'm only a third of the way through this cut. I really don't want to have to drop a bunch of weight off of my program. And so I hopped on Amazon. I think it was like $40 bucks or something like that. Got this. It's a pretty decent little, looks like actual leather weightlifting belt. Gonna be using that today, and hopefully that'll help get that bracing, help keep our form from breaking down a little bit. So I forgot to set a timer, but I still need to add a little bit of weight for our 75%. So I'll just cut and I'll be right back. All right, we've got 75% on there, so we'll do our warm-up set 3 for deadlifts, and yeah, we're shooting for somewhere in the 6 to 8 range here. We have deadlift working set 1. We're at 295. That's where we were at last week. We did 3 sets of 4. As I mentioned, that 4th set, I felt my form break down a little bit. So today, I'm not actually going to make sure I get 5. What I'm going to try and focus on is getting 3 sets with good form. And even if I don't get 4 on each of these, that's fine. I just really don't want to get injured, people. All right, here we go. All right, set 1 down. All right, deadlift. Set 2. We got 4 last time. That's all we're shooting for. Technically, 5 would be progressive overload here, but I mentioned last week I did feel a little soreness afterwards, so I'm going to focus on form a little bit more and prioritize that over bumping up the weight or the reps. So here we go. All right, 1 more set. Here we are, set 3, final set of deadlifts. Let's see how much the camera shakes. I've got it on the ground. All right, yeah, that felt better than last week. So that's a good thing. Slowing down, not shooting for just like going all out, trying to get all kinds of gains at all costs. I'm gonna cut. It's not the end all be all to be adding reps and weight. And this belt, I think, probably helped too. So very nice. In case you were wondering, yeah, it does take a little bit of time to move these weights around, move my equipment around and adjust. But it's just like any gym that you're in, right? If you're doing deadlift, you'd have to put all those weights away, right? And then I will say the nice thing about a actual gym is that you wouldn't have to necessarily set up your cable machine for lats. You just go over to the cable machine that's already set up for lats. So that's one difference. I do lose a little bit of time. Like you probably already heard my rest timer go off. That's all right. A little bit of extra rest never killed nobody. Just a couple more weights to put on and we'll get started. We just finished up deadlifts. We were optimizing for form. We did 3 sets of 4. Moving on to lat pull downs. Let's see, last week we're at 135, right? So I've got 90 plus 30 is 120. That's only 130. So I don't know how I did when I figured 135. That was not good math. But we will put on the 10s instead of the 5s, which will put us at 140, which I think that's probably actually what it was last week. I don't think I put on the 2.5s. So yeah, we did 9, 3 sets of 9. Our rep range is 8 to 12. So let's shoot for that 9 to 10. Let's see what we get. Lat pull downs, set 1. And one more. Yeah, and that put us at 10, which felt good. So shoot for that the rest of the time. All right, lat pull down, set 2, shooting for 10. All right, great. One thing I'm focusing on with the lat pull downs too is getting a full stretch at the top, letting that weight just take me all the way up, coming down, and then not letting the weight just go all the way up. It's a controlled stretch back up too, to get that stretching in the eccentric load, which is that lengthening. So that's thinking about that on the way up, and on the way down, I'm thinking about pulling back and trying to feel it in the middle of my back as well. So that's what I'm focusing on. We've got one more set of these. All right, last set, lat pull downs. Like I said, we're focusing on getting a nice stretch, nice controlled eccentric stretching. Full stretch at the top and pinning back at the bottom. Here we go. Whoa. You may ask yourself, AJ, how do you keep from cheating? How do you keep your knees from coming up? You don't have an extension over your knees. And I'd say you're right. But I don't know if you can see from here, there's a lower support bar on the squat rack. That's actually what the part of the lower cable attaches to. And it's just low enough and just high enough from the ground I can stick my feet underneath there. So I just stick my feet in and press them up against that. That keeps my lower body stationary and braced when I do these lat pull downs. All right, we've got one arm dumbbell rows. I moved up to 50s last week, I think. We did 3 sets of 11, so we're shooting for that. That's a lot. Switch sides. focus on these is to brace myself with my arm and my knee over here in such a way that I can fully let feel the stretch, let my arm go all the way down. So make sure I'm high enough up to where I'm not hitting the ground. But I really want to feel that lat muscle just stretch. And when I pull up, I focus on pulling my elbow back. And that, between those two focuses, for me, those are the cues that I need to make sure that this is a lat focus movement and not a shoulder movement. Set 2, single arm dumbbell rows. Here we go. Now, of course, you can do these bent over like this, but another way that I like to do the dumbbell rows is to do a slight incline on the bench and let that be my support, so my arms just hang down. And that gives a nice good angle for making sure you're using your lats as well. But I do enjoy this single arm variation. All right, last set of one arm dumbbell rows. Yeah, that 11 rep range is feeling good. I can feel that stimulus. Don't feel like I'm overdoing it. Keep the good form. All right. Last thing I'll say about the single arm dumbbell rows, if you're not feeling it in your lats or in your back, you probably need to take a look at your form. You shouldn't be just busting these out. If you are, you're probably using a lot of your shoulder and a lot of your biceps. I mean, you're still using some of those. You can't negate them completely, but it should be predominantly, you should feel that stretch and you should feel that stimulus there. So just reevaluate your form if you're not feeling it in the right spots. If you can't get the stimulus that you want from this, go to a different type of row. Do that incline one I was suggesting. That's basically just like this. And you hang on and you can pull this way. And you can also use a cable machine, accomplish the same things. So yeah, just make sure you're getting the right stimulus that you're looking for. One hack I do like to do in my home gym, I don't know if it's necessarily a hack, it's just something that you get to do when you're in a home gym. I program my workouts where if I'm doing one kind of lat or like a cable pull, I try to do another cable pull. That way I don't have to take down all my weights. In fact, for my lat pull downs and my seated cable rows, I can do the same weight, just slightly different reps. Sometimes I need to add or take away 5 or 10 pounds or something like that, but it's just a little efficiency. You saw how long it took earlier for me to get the deadlift put away and then get the lat stuff set up. So this just saves a little bit of time. All right. We have seated cable rows. I think last week and the week before I started with 9 and then did, I don't know, 11 or 12. Not going to make that mistake and just go in for 9. I'm going to go for between 10 and 12 to start with. There we go. Call it 11. All right, seated cable rows, set 2. Here we go. We got 11 on the first one. Got it. Cool. Yeah, and just a word of caution maybe about the rowing. Just like with the lats, you know how I said I wanted to get a stretch. I am allowing myself to come a little forward and feel my back stretching. But I followed some advice from the YouTube video. The irony is not lost on me. Of like basically suggesting to lean really forward. I was doing underhand, wide grip, like elevated, like seated on a bench with a cable on the ground. And the advice was to like really let your body lean forward and get the stretch. I ended up injuring myself. Now, maybe I wasn't doing something right, but it just goes to show, take everything with a grain of salt and don't go 100% in on a brand new workout like that. If it's new to you, kind of ease your way into it. So I am not suggesting that you lean all the way forward on a row. I am suggesting that you let your elbows come past. Don't keep them from locking. Definitely at least come to there, and definitely at least feel like there's a tug. And if you can give a little bit, great. Be careful though. Don't overstretch. Definitely don't do that at the expense of your safety. I don't want you to get injured. I don't want to get injured. That's why I've never done those seated, overly extended pulling again, because that ruined my pulling for I don't know, months before I was able to do. In fact, I haven't actually even done deadlifts this heavy. I have to go back and look. It's probably been like a year. Like, it's crazy. Because I had to adjust. I started doing trap bar deadlifts, and I don't have as much room on there, so I can't go as heavy. So all these things, all stemming from one decision to try and follow this advice on YouTube and get this super duper great stretch to make sure I'm getting every ounce of expenditure from my lats. Be smart. We've got one more set of these. You can follow my advice or not. I just don't want to be the guy who causes you to strain your back. Last set, seated dumbbell rows, narrow grip. Here we go. I love it. All right. Let me break. We'll come back and do our check-in. Okay, our check-in today. We weighed in at 191.1. If you were with me yesterday, you saw 194.1. How did I lose 3 pounds overnight? Man, I must look so much better. Well, I probably do, because it was probably a lot of water weight. I haven't lost a bunch of fat. I haven't lost 3 pounds of fat. But I was 194.1 yesterday, which was up from the average last week was 192.7. So 194 was basically just because of multiple days of higher calorie, higher sodium, higher carbs. So Thursday night had like a holiday thing with some tasty apps. And then Saturday night, so you'll notice the days after: Friday after Thursday night, and then Sunday after a date night on Saturday, and then Monday after a Mexican restaurant lunch. So those are the higher days. Yesterday was able to lose a lot of that water weight overnight by just getting back to my plan. I didn't do anything fancy. I just stuck to my 1600 calorie goal, ate high protein foods, hit my protein goal of 180. If we go and look at the actual nutrition for the day, 182 grams of protein on less than 1600 calories. So it's doable, but it does take a little bit more discipline to help me get there. I switched to David bars for my protein bars because they have a much higher calorie ratio, they have a much higher protein ratio, 28 grams of protein to 150 calories, whereas the other ones were like 200 calories and 20 grams of protein. I stuck to a low calorie soup and added chicken to it, a couple of chomp sticks, and then a couple of other smaller protein bars for lunch. For dinner, stuck to a higher protein lasagna from Counter. I did have a moment of weakness where I just needed a handful of goldfish. My wife made some homemade chicken nuggets, so I threw those in there. And then for snacks, Greek yogurt, another David bar, and an orange for some vitamin C and gum. So yeah, that's all it took, was just having a regular high protein, low sodium day. Guys, I think I went to the bathroom it felt like 100 times. It was probably only 3 times. 3 times overnight, and then a normal morning visit to the empty void, right? But that's a lot of peeing. Let's just be honest. That's something I don't think that a lot of people talk about, is the whoosh effect. Some people talk about it. There's enough to where it has a name, the whoosh effect, but it's not talked about super often, where if you have a high carb, high sodium weekend, that first or second day after getting back onto your routine, your body has to do something with that water. So that's fun. But yeah, we're hopefully getting back on track. We're supposed to be 190.7, I think, this week. So we're at 191.1 today. So we have some ground to make up if we want our average to be on track. But I think we can do it.